Hi everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of AskCody on Air. My name is David, and I'm excited to be your host for today. Today, we'll be focusing on how AskCody can simplify meeting services and requests, from adding catering to your meeting invites to analyzing service data for operational efficiency. We'll walk you through practical use cases and live demos, showing you how to make the most out of AskCody Services platform, how to make the most out of your AskCody Services platform to save time and improve your team's workflows. If you have any questions during the session, you can address them on the webinar chat or at the top right corner of your window in the question section. Without further ado, let's dive in. First, let's start with how you can effortlessly manage service requests for meetings using AskCody. Whether it's catering, AV equipment, or other meeting services, the process is designed to be intuitive and integrated directly into Outlook. Let's see how we can place a service request with AskCody. Let's jump straight here. So I pre-created a meeting in Outlook, so let's open it. It's this one on the 4th of February called Personalization and User Experience Improvements. I'm just going to double click it. And when I open the expanded view of the event, if we want to add any service request or any type of requests that we have for this meeting, we can use the AskCody Services add-in, which is located at the top ribbon of the window. So you'll notice it right here in AskCody Services. Actually, yes. And then when opening the add-in, it will understand that the meeting is happening in a meeting room called Delta. Therefore, I can choose a different series of providers that provide different services that my company has made available for myself. In this case, I'll just go for catering. So I'm going to choose Boston Catering, and the category for this service request, I'm just going to stick with some refreshments. In this case, let's just order good old water and coffee. So because in this meeting we have 5 participants, I'm updating the quantities here to 5. And I will make sure that here in the delivery options, I can choose when the service request can be delivered. So either at the beginning of the meeting, in the middle of it, or towards the end, which would make sense, for example, for a request such as cleaning. But in this case, I want it in the beginning. The meeting is from 9 to 11, as you can see here. So I'll just go ahead and leave it as it is at 9. I want it delivered on location, yes. And I can either add an additional request. I can place as many requests as I want, or as I'm allowed to, really. And or I can just simply click on finalize request, and then go ahead and input some financial information which is relevant for my organization. So I'll do just that. For this meeting, the cost center is development. It's an internal meeting, and then I'll just input my client matter number, which is, of course, rules determined by my organization. And then I'll just simply click on place request. This should place a request at the provider. So the provider has access to the AskCody Services portal, which is a full-fledged portal for managing service requests. It notifies the personnel about a new request being placed. It allows them to edit it. It allows a two-way communication between the requester and the provider. So a really powerful tool to manage service requests. But for this webinar, for this presentation, we will focus on the user side. So, having placed a request, you will see that I can actually just go ahead and close the event right here, because I want to show you that I have received a receipt. Have received a receipt from AskCody, letting me know that I've placed an order for 5 cups of coffee and 5 water bottles. Also letting me know about the status of the request, and then relevant information about it that I can always use later on in case I need to give some of this to my manager, for instance. And just like that, we place a service request for the meeting, and then I don't need to worry about things being delivered, because if there is any changes or any comments to this service, I will be notified directly on my inbox as well. So really, really great way to manage those requests. Now, let's say the meeting details change and you need to update your service request. You can actually do this in a series of different places. First of all, we can open the add-in from the event page in Outlook. Let's actually look at that right away. So because we place a service request to this meeting, I can just simply from Outlook open it, and thanks to the direct integration it has with Exchange, I can just simply from the services add-in find the request that I have placed and choose to edit it, add, remove stuff if I wanted to. I can either even cancel the request if I don't need it anymore, or I can actually just place additional service requests for this meeting. This is directly from, again, the calendar event on Outlook. The second method is actually from our emails, because since this meeting is created in Microsoft Exchange and then in Outlook, there are a series of transactional emails that happens when we book a resource, for example. In this case, I booked a meeting room called Delta, and then Delta has actually sent me this confirmation message, which is configured by my organization in Microsoft Exchange. From this confirmation message, the organization can actually choose to add custom messages, just like we are doing here, where it basically says, lets me know that if I want to place a service request for my meeting, I can simply do it via the AskCody services add-in. And then the great thing about it is that this email is, of course, connected to the meeting. And because it is connected to the meeting, then AskCody is directly integrated with it. So I can actually just find these services add-in directly from this email right here at the top. Or if I click on apps, I can also find it there. So by clicking on the services add-in, I can just do exactly the same as I would do from opening it from the calendar. So the great interface that just very, very simply allows me to edit the service request whenever that is necessary. So that is method number 2 from the transactional email that we get from the room. Method number 3 is from the email that we get from AskCody. Of course, when placing the service request, we got an email with a confirmation receipt, which I showed you, and then we can open the add-in straight from the top part, just like we can do with the transactional email from the room, and then in the exact same way, go ahead and edit our service request. That is method number 3. Method number 4 is from Central in the AskCody web app. So from Central, if we just jump straight here, I have my event right here. When clicking on it, I'll just do a quick refresh. When clicking on it, you'll see that my service request is here with the things that I ordered. And if I have the right access, I'll find this edit button. That when I click on it, it takes me straight to the services portal where I can go ahead and add or remove more stuff to the request, or even place a comment if that's what I need to do. So really a lot of, like, a bunch of flexibility, a lot of ways to edit the service request, and then users can of course choose to do it in the way that fits best for them. As an additional comment here, for those managing requests on the go, say a manager or a facility manager using, like a catering or facility manager using an iPad, AskCody Central offers a user-friendly interface for mobile editing. So this flexibility is perfect for last-minute changes. So, for instance, if you're reviewing orders for a specific meeting on the day after, and you notice that something's missing from a request, you can simply adjust the catering request directly from the iPad. And because it is central, then you can also drag and drop the meeting to reschedule it. So a really great flexibility to manage service requests, ensuring that nothing falls through the cracks, even if plans change last minute. And with the clear and timely updates sent directly to the service teams, there's less confusion and smooth operation for your meeting services. So really great flexibility when managing services with AskCody. Now, let's explore into how service insights combined with the power of Microsoft Copilot can help your organization make smarter data-driven decisions to optimize meeting services. Let's start with a quick overview of the Insights module, which many of our customers are familiar with. Starting with this default Insights report, this dashboard gives you a detailed overview of all service requests, so completed, canceled, rejected, and more. You can always analyze services data for the whole time you've been an AskCody customer and filter by provider. You can find all the filtering options up there. Filter by provider, by date range, and the request type to get a clear understanding of the trends presented. When analyzing this data, it is crucial to have two things in mind, and that is process and people. Some organizations may have enterprise policies that determine that every single service request needs to be placed from the admin, rather than ad hoc on the provider, for example, as this would actually make sure that the changes made to the meeting will be followed by requests as well. So really, really good idea in most cases. If the data then here in the report shows that that there is a lot of requests that are being placed ad hoc on the provider, perhaps additional onboarding is needed to be done to familiarize the employees with the tools that they have at their disposal, because perhaps they're not familiar with the fact that they can place the service request directly from Outlook. Also, if there are many rejected requests, like we can see here in the Boston IT facilities team, the red bar are rejected service requests. Perhaps we need to look into how the offer is aligned with the supply available on the provider. Or perhaps requests are being made with very limited time for the provider to be able to prepare and deliver them, for which a series of preparation deadlines, for example, a series of preparation deadlines rules can be set for that specific provider in AskCody to prevent these scenarios. So all of this data is great, and it gives you a general picture of how the overall service providers are operating in the organization. But what if we actually wanted to take a deeper dive into some more of the services data available on AskCody? What if we wanted to look at it in a more granular way and see what can we do about a specific service provider? Let's actually see how we can do that and how can Microsoft Copilot help us in these cases. So, for cases in which we want to explore more information about a service provider and even export the data and see what we can do, we simply need to go into the service provider in AskCody right here. In this case, I'm in the Boston catering provider. And what I'm going to do is head over to the finance and reporting section. Then I'm going to click on manage reports. In here, I will create a new report, and I will create a report that contains data for the whole year of 2024. Let's go with that. So 1st of January until today. And then I'm going to make sure to tick this box. I want to include already settled requests. I'll click on create. Great. Then what I will do here is what I get here is actually a list of all the requests that were made during this year in this provider, and it gives me a lot of contextual information such as who made it, what is the cost center associated, meeting type, and all that. I can actually go ahead and search for information here if that's what I'm looking for, or even more interesting, I can go ahead and export this data, which I'm going to do right now. I can export the standard file, which contains all the information, or I will show you that if I press on export custom, then I can actually go ahead and choose which information I want to see exported to make sure that the report that I get is perhaps not overwhelming or has unnecessary data for me to analyze. I'll just simply keep it all for the sake of the example, and then I will download it. It's right there. I'll locate the file on my downloads folder. Sorry about that. Let's open it here, and you'll see that the file is right here. It's this settlement that I just downloaded. So if I right-click on it and open it with Microsoft Excel, you can see that it opened in my second screen. So I'll just move this straight to here. The first thing that we need to do is make sure to save this file on an online location so that we can interact with it via Copilot. So right here, Excel prompts us to save it. Then I'm going to click on Save As. Make sure that I'm saving it on in this case, OneDrive is my online location. I'll leave the name as it is, and I will change the format to Excel format file. I'll just simply click on Save, and then I am good to go. So then I'm good to go. So what I will do now is that I will open a Microsoft Copilot. I will find Copilot right here at the top right corner of the of my ribbon, and then Microsoft Copilot. For those of you who are perhaps not familiar with it, it's Microsoft Artificial Intelligence Assistant. So what a Copilot can do is that it can understand the context that you're looking at, and then provide you insights with it based on a conversational interface. So basically, we can ask it questions about the document, and it will give us either the answer or generate a series of results that we asked it. In this case, we can see right here that we opened the file that we downloaded, and it's a bunch of information that we have available here. But let's actually ask Copilot to create a table with the top requested items based on frequency and quantity, because I would really like to know which ones are the most popular items in this provider. So for that, I prepared a little prompt here that I'm going to copy and paste. But basically, I'm telling it to take into account columns G and I. G, that's the item name, and then I, that is the item quantity. So basically, analyze how many times have these items been requested, and take into consideration how many requests they've been in order to be able to give me a consolidated report. So I'm just going to go ahead and ask Copilot to build a table for me, and we'll give it a second to get the results done. So as you can see here, it's already processing the information and finishing up. Let's give it 30 more seconds. Great. So as you can see, it came up with some results here, and it's even given me a quick summary here, telling me that coffee is the most popular item with 57 requests and a total of 258 cups of coffee ordered in this provider in the past year. And the second one is mixed fruit with 56 requests and 124 orders. But what if I wanted to expand that even more? Notice that right here, I have the Add to a New Sheet button. So I'm going to go ahead and click on it. Click on it. I get the table organized and sorted by the most popular items sorted in order of popularity. So we can see right here which ones are the top requested items. And then I can go ahead and actually do some interesting stuff with this. For example, if these are the items that people are requesting the most in the organization, perhaps it would make sense to make a section with shortcuts for people to be able to request them even faster, because they're located in different categories, right? So if in the provider, we could create a category called popular items and include these items, and then let people find them very easily. Let's actually see how we would do this. So if we jump here straight to the provider again, I'll go into categories, and in categories, I'll click on add. And right here, I will just go ahead and create a category and even give it an emoji for making it easier for users to spot it. Then with that information, I'll just add up the items and services that I want to add here. In this case, I will add the top 5 most popular items from the table I just showed. So let's quickly switch to that. That's coffee, mixed fruit, Coke, and a couple of sandwiches. That's great. Coffee, mixed fruit, not that, but Coke, and a couple of sandwiches. That was a ham sandwich and turkey sandwich, if I'm not wrong. Ham sandwich and turkey sandwich. That's right. Perfect. Then we have the category made, and then we can simply add a description here to make it easier for people to find it. So I just call it a selection of the most requested items from the provider contains refreshments and sandwiches. This is simply to guide the end user to choose the right category when they're selecting it. I'll just go ahead and click on create, and just like that, a category with popular items is created. As we know, this is immediately available for users. Let's actually see right away. I'll just jump here to Outlook, back to where we were before, and here from this from the service request that I placed, let's just reopen the item again, and we can see, for example, that if I click on category, I can find the popular items category straight directly available for myself, where I can find the items that I added. So the category becomes immediately available, allowing users to use it and find those items that are already popular. So really good actionable piece of insight that we got, that we could put into action and benefit our organization from it. Just like this, there are a bunch of examples and a bunch of different things that we can do with data. For example, we can, if we just jump here straight to the presentation as well, we can also get additional insights, for example, such as analyzing which meeting room is the most popular in terms of number of requests placed to it, or which rooms were the most popular in which months of the year, for example. We can also identify seasonal trends like peak activity in July or a higher demand for specific items in winter months, making it easier to plan ahead, streamline operations, and keep inventory at levels. In any case, AskCody and Microsoft Copilot empower you to make database decisions to optimize inventory, streamline workflows, and improve efficiency across your organization. So that's about it. I hope you could see the benefits of using AskCody together with Copilot to supercharge service insights for your organization. Now, let's see if we have any questions from the audience for this one. It doesn't look like we have any questions today, and that's perfectly okay. But in any case, thank you for joining today, for tuning in to AskCody Spotlight. As always, we're here to support you, and we do these sessions for you and to empower you and your organization to get the most out of AskCody. So feel free to connect us in the AskCody community by scanning the QR code available on the screen or searching for AskCody community on LinkedIn. You can also write me directly at david.b.posada@askcody.com, the email directly placed on the screen, if you have any questions or feedback, or if you have a topic you would like us to address here in the future. This will be the last version of AskCody on air in 2024, but we'll be back next year. So stay tuned, and happy holidays from AskCody to all of you.